What kind of pussy dies from wind anyway?
Yeah, right.
As of our last sessions, the crew of the Malum Melodium have departed from their fabulous rotting hulk of a starship.
Which was our first mistake.
Well, yes.
You mean the giant death trap?
To the illustrious halls of Constantine, the parasitic capital world of the subsector. Here, you've got a number of goals that were previously established. You've got some friends to make, some prisoners to add to your crew, and a anti-gravitational yacht to borrow. Typical things when you go to the party, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Try and
of
gun a
course.
whole bottle of vodka, try and flirt, and get an anti-grav spaceship. So, when we last left off specifically, you had just finished a conversation with a Captain Caligula.
Aye.
Yes.
Of the galleon.
It didn't go well.
It did not go well, unfortunately for you all. But, in the meantime, you spied an opportunity for both Captain Populus, the man he was talking to originally, an old naval captain, and one of your targets, Baron Vanderkampf, have both become available from their own little conversations. Which one you're going to assault first with your, let's say, aggressive conversations is up to you. So,
Well, Vanderkamp's the VIP, isn't he?
Vanderkamp is one of your targeted characters.
Yeah, but Populus was coming straight for us last session.
He's coming
Yeah.
right at us!
Going right at us. We can't avoid him.
Yeah, but I didn't make a good impression with him, so I was going to slope off.
I'm going to try and talk to Vanderkamp.
Yeah, me too.
I'd like to try.
Okay, so
Let's all try
Do you want me
talking
to
to
tag
him at
along, or
once.
do you want me to talk with Populus?
Well, it'd be a bit awkward if we all walked away from Populus.
Yeah, I'll stay around and talk to Populus instead of talk to Vanderkamp.
who will sacrifice himself to stand?
Yeah,
All
I'm
on
just
your
gonna
own sword.
leave Utopics alone by the food table.
Yeah,
Can I go wrong?
I remember Utobix and Varana were currently investigating the food
Stuffing
table.
their faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Actually, that
basically
reminds me,
just watching out
probably-
for danger. Yes, I
Danger in
think
the form of a meal.
Be surprised, a lot of poison goes around.
Yeah.
I'm well aware.
It's a hive city. At a party like this, I'm surprised it doesn't flow.
Let me just...
I have no idea what I'm saying. Leave me, like, ignore me.
Clearly.
We tried.
I graciously will.
Yeah, my brain's scrambled.
Okay, so yes, who's going where first? How, where, and what?
Well, it seems that me and I have forgotten my compatriot's name.
Palladorius.
Palladorius.
Yes.
Sorry, mate. Me and Palladorius were going to go off and see the Baron.
And I'm going to go and talk to Populus.
Okay, so
Where's the Baron?
Romulus and Populus. This is going to become a bitch to converse between.
It's your
Romulus,
problem,
I
mate.
imagine you turn about on the spot to face the enraging captain as your two allies slink off to seek out the Baron, yes?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead. I'll move Populus on over.
Yep. Greetings, Captain Populus, I presume?
Yes. Good to see you're still standing around here. Driven off Caligula, have you?
It seems so. By the way, how's the drinks here?
Puffed up nonsense. Though I do appreciate they've got void milk on offer. Have you ever had that before? I'd imagine you will have if you're one of the, well, if you're a rogue trader's lad.
I believe I had once before, although I've been too long on a frontier world and been too used to Grok's milk.
Well, to each their own. So, what's bringing you here? I imagine you're after that little, and he kind of tips his head towards the fabulously displayed and very well sealed case at the top of the room.
Yes, I mean, there's no beating about the bush. And would you happen to be as well?
What use would I have for it? I'm a captain, not a far-ranging, well, rogue like your father might be. As far as it might be nice to add to my collection, it's not like the navigators I have really work for me.
Well, does anyone have navigators that truly work for them?
Good point.
And I can see that Caligula's brother's trying to work his magic with the Rear Admiral.
Of course he is. I mean, it's about time that family had an upturn after everything that's happened to them. But, to each their own. You have to struggle through these kind of horrible things, don't you?
Indeed. So,
even if it's turned one of the brothers into an upstanding member of Imperial Society, who's happy enough to, well, gob off about all manner of things relating to the Imperium's, oh, so holy Ministorum, and while the other one's scarcely more than a reaver, isn't he?
well, he definitely gave the impression when we spoke to him. I mean, there's not much hiding from that.
He's a scandalous bastard, I'll tell you that much.
And what do you know of... Well, I presume you've had experiences with the Rear Admiral?
Well, he's the reason I've been brought here today. Lad's never seen proper service, so figured he'd bring along some actual old dogs so he doesn't look too out of place. I served at the second siege of Anaxide, you know.
I didn't know.
Well, feel free to shower me in whatever glory you might want to. Kidding, of course. Duty's duty, isn't it?
Indeed. Especially if it's for an honourable cause, such as serving the Imperium. Or
Well,
serving humanity.
I'd say it's definitely serving humanity. Stopping some orc-infested hulk from sweeping its way through the middle of a system on a direct collision course with a populated hive world typically goes more for humanity than it does for the Imperium as a whole. As much as I serve the throne, well, the throne isn't the one getting crushed by thousands of tons of space debris and green skin.
So have you fought them on planet side then?
Unfortunately not. It was our actions in orbit that kept it from being a planet-side issue.
Okay, one moment. I just need to check if I've got... I don't think I've got any laws in regards to Xenos. I'm rather ignorant in regards to the orcs, but having never faced them myself, I've only heard rumors.
Yeah, they're a foul and barbarous species. I've seen a few of them during boarding actions. Leaders of their number are as tall as the Adeptus Astartes, and twice as wide. Fearsome bastards, the one and all. Don't underestimate them. Might look thick as mud, but they ain't. Fortunately, they aren't quite as cunning as the rest of us. Managed to lure their hulk right into a trap, My cruiser detachment was responsible for ramming the entire thing, pushed it right into the line of fire for the ships of the line, ripped the thing apart with broadsides that you've never seen before. It's a beautiful sight to see, save for the thousands of dead men on the back of it.
Hmm. So, I don't suppose you know what Rear Admiral was hoping to gain, possibly from this party?
What do you think a man like him most desires?
Wealth, probably.
I would imagine, I mean, he's got wealth, and if he's wanting to surround himself with experienced veterans, then glory, surely.
He's a rear admiral lad. This ain't wealth. I mean, half the people at this fabulous get-together of the high and mighty are born into just as much, if not more, wealth than he is. Every day. Of course he's wanting wealth out of it. Glory isn't something like his type seeks. Hasn't got the spine for it.
Surely it can't just be wealth. I mean, there must be more to it than that.
Are you attempting to charm him?
Yes.
Okay.
So, a charm check?
Yep. Plus 10.
Plus 10. I'll spend a fate point to give myself another plus 10. So that'll be a plus 20.
But you'll need that fate point when Dark Eldar crashed the party.
2.5 degrees of success.
3 Dark Eldar in a trench coat.
We're all gonna die then.
I swear we're human. Oh no, lad. It'll be wealth. Just like the lot of them here. Spineless money grubbers, the lot. I mean, just look at them. And he gestures towards the colonel over at the meal table. That lad is pampered and pathetic. Hasn't even got a backbone. I reckon the only thing holding him up is his self-righteous hard-on for himself.
Wow.
Swear, lean on him enough, and that lad'll break no matter what you do. And as I've said, what do you think the Rear Admiral's actually done? Do you know his history? Combat history? Do you know many of the battles that have been fought here?
As far as I'm aware, it's lacking.
Lacking to say the least. He was an ensign on the Lord Admiral's vessel. But because he was a good little rat running backwards and forwards on the deck, here he is, helping rebuild the shattered Battlefleet Chalice. With a chest filled with grok shite. At least he doesn't pretend that he's, let's say, not grabbing after every throne he can to stuff his pockets full. Have you seen the Baroness over there?
I have.
Too good of a heart, I'd reckon. I mean, I'm sure you know what happened to her original holdings, and she'll weep for the pitiful and downtrodden in the underworlds of the Imperium, not knowing that they break their back just so she can enjoy the fine life she does. Doesn't really respect their sacrifice so much as she does lament it for her own personal seat at the Emperor's tea party when it comes to the end of all things. Worse grok shit than the rest of them, I'd say.
Do you reckon that Well, her good heart isn't genuine and it's just a show then.
Oh, no.
Or the lower car. No.
You see, how it is folks can have a ingenuine good heart, but they can still have one. If you get me drift. She's got a good heart, but her good heart is not to any real end. It's to make her feel good. She does things, I'll admit, stupid decisions for the supposed good of the suffering, but don't you find it funny that she's still a baroness?
Indeed. Now, out of character, was he pointing to the colonel prior?
He was pointing to the colonel, yeah.
Okay.
Expressing
Unfortunately,
that
I
the guy
can't
has no
read
spine.
Colonel's name because it's a bit covered up by Caligula.
It's
Colonel Mustard.
it's
No.
Marnie von Man. Colonel Marnie von Man with 2 N's.
Okay.
Could we and Utopix try to overhear the conversation between Caligula and the Colonel?
Yes. I'm gonna say that's gonna be an awareness check.
Incoming.
Awareness. How are you?
Any modifier?
Given that the fact it's a party that's being played and people generally conversing about the play, I'm going to impose a +0. It's going to be challenging to overhear at this distance.
Alright.
Oh, I got close.
Alright, I'll go.
Wait.
You can't hear much, Utopics. Generally,
let
you
me-
can hear the captain talking about his own... it seems like they're both sharing military stories from your point of view.
Alright, I'm gonna
Yep.
I'm gonna try now.
Miranda?
let me just find where the awareness. Okay, here, found it.
Top of basic skills.
Yeah, I see it. Took me a minute. I was looking in advanced skills for some reason. Just gotta hold up. Hang on.
Some would argue awareness is an advanced skill.
Yep, somewhat. One moment. Problem is, roll 20 is difficult on it's difficult on my computer, so I have to. Okay, I'm not gonna spend the fate point, so.
Hey, nicely
Okay.
done, Miranda.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go.
Miranda, you have perhaps, let's say, well, reasonably, you have enhanced hearing, given the fact that you can't see for shit. These things happen when your eyes melt out of your skull. And as far as you can hear, it sounds like Tiberius is telling some tall tales to the colonel. What takes your interest most of all is the fact that the colonel is eating them up. He is nodding along, trying his best to agree and sound as informed as the captain himself, while the captain tells him about battling all manner of horrors in the wild space between the Calixus sector and the Chalice. Though, from what you at least can glean, it's just complete shite. Sounds like you've got a bit of a gullible case on your hands. And Caligula is taking full advantage of it to, let's say, improve his standing with the colonel.
Won't be the worst idea for us to do the same in the future.
Sorry?
Alright then. Okay.
So, have we reached Mr. Vanderkamp
Yeah,
yet?
I was just about to say,
Cool.
Decker and Palladorius. At this point, you approach Baron Van, who greets you all with, well, you're quite surprised to see a smile on his face. Hello there, lads. Hello there. I can't do his voice. Need me things. Just a sec. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, Baron van der Kamp.
Oh, hello. You are...
How goes the party so far?
Well, can you really argue with such a fabulous event? At least the food's good, and the conversation isn't too bad. Glad to see that you've arrived with your captain.
Oh, well, we wouldn't miss it for the world.
I should hope not. Especially given, well, what importance that little artifact has to the rogue trader himself. At least from what he was telling us.
Oh, absolutely. It will be the jewel of his collection, I'm sure, sir.
And the key to many others.
Well, I'm more hoping that once you've got such a jewel, you'll be able to bring far finer jewels back from the reaches beyond the glittering abyss.
Oh, absolutely. We're hoping there'll be trading opportunities and all sorts of wondrous things that we can accomplish. And as they say, the tide rises all ships. Our success is our friend's success.
Yes. He was telling me a similar thing while trying the state of my personal palace. To be fair, I agree with him. The place is looking a little shabby and small. Could do with a new coat of crystalline gold. I'm sure you'd agree if you'd ever visited yourself.
Oh, I'm sure, sir. I'll be pleased if I ever did see it.
Be a great honor.
So I imagine you're doing a bit of digging for your captain while he's cavorting about the place with his chin held high.
Well, there's no point in denying it, sir. We're doing our bit of socializing on his behalf.
Good man, good man. I need men like you myself. Get me far less occupied at these parties if I could get 5 copies of myself to go and mingle with everyone. After all, I've only got so many stories to share.
Indeed. So, what's it like running a prison, then?
Well, it depends on your personal preferences, lad. How do you
I've
find...
seen a few.
What's the Gothic word for it? A Schadenfreude. You find entertainment in another suffering?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the prison I've seen had frequently had pit fights. And you would your prisoners would earn respect and extra food rations, etc. Very entertaining.
Oh yes, some of the best ones we can often sell off to proper gladiatorial pits, if there's interest for them. After all, if you fight your way all the way up through a prison with nothing but a shiv, put a sword in his hand, and, well, you've got yourself a gladiator there.
Aye, we could use some of those sorts of men ourselves. In fact, I might as well come round to my proposition, sir, if you don't mind. We were hoping to get our hands on some able bodies. Now, I believe you have an excess.
Able bodies, huh?
Indeed.
Well, I'd say they certainly are able bodies, but they're being put to good use in my mines. I don't expect that you're going to be unwilling to compensate me if you want to take some of my laborers.
Oh, of course not. Well, do they all find service in your minds, sir? Surely you've got some layabouts that you could let go of.
I'm not giving any of them away for free, if that's what I'm hoping. If there's space at the rock face, then there's space for thy men.
Aye. Well, there's a phrase from where I come from, sir, that says, "Shy bairns getting out." You must always ask, or you'll never receive. So, what sort of transaction did you have in mind, sir? We have means and ways, and can afford some.
That's a very good question. Depends what means and ways you can offer me.
Well,
as a suggestion, there's a couple of ways you can go about this, given the fact that you actually are far behind. Well, this is like the start of your intentions. You can obviously try and barter with him and make an arrangement what you know the captain to have or will have. Like, so you could say you could send him beasts and things if you go on your hunt. Or you can just outright lie to him and offer him things that you're probably never going to be able to deliver. But deal with that another day.
Well, I figure if we ever want to get men from him ever again, we might want to stay on his good side.
Yeah.
So I won't be lying to him anytime soon. Well, I might exaggerate, but you know.
Also, there's also because he knows where we're going to use the artifact if we get it. To promise him that some artifacts could come his way. Yeah.
My thinking is that if he's got a sort of coliseum going on, he would quite like some animals to fight against his gladiators.
That's true as well.
So that might be a good trading option. Or we could... I don't know. We could offer him services, or if he has any intentions in the Expanse.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he wants whatever we have on us now.
Well, are you gonna? If you want to deceive him by exaggerating, you can make with a deception check, or you can just barter with him now and see how you go.
Right. I'll tell him what we have as a. And try and sell off our items as being, better than they actually are.
Right.
Like a wheeler dealer trying to sell you a stolen watch, eh? Genuine Rolex.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay. So, yes, if you want to deceive him, then I'm going to need a +10 deception check.
Okie dokie. He's not a member of the underworld, is he?
No, Vanderkamp isn't, unfortunately.
Dang.
Hey,
that worked well.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some lovely tapestries. We've got a cargo hold with a few items in it. I'm sure we could find some use for. What do you have in mind, sir?
So, I'm going to need then a barter check with a +15 from that impressive check.
Okie dokie.
Don't crash and burn.
This is what fate points are for. Hey!
Woo!
I'm coming back, lads. It was that natural 100 from last week.
Expressing to him some of the things that you do have left over chips and arranging perhaps under the captain's nose a little to maybe strip some of the finery out of your own, everyone's quarters in order to pass it off to the governor. You can make an arrangement with him that he seems quite happy with. And, if you want, you can at this point slip in the future prospects of your deal with that quality of a barter check, as he already seems to be agreeing to the terms.
Well, sir, now I have your... now we've come to an accord. There is a... Well... Oh, Christ, I don't know how to phrase it. So, if we get the fragment, we have a plan, you see, and we might be able to get our hands on some exotic creatures. And now, what we do with these exotic creatures... Well, there's many things you can do. For example, you could fight with them. I wonder if they might fit in well at your Colosseum, eh? To use the High Gothic.
What
do you think, sir?
But aren't you a little concerned about, circumnavigating the beast house?
Of course. There are all kinds of risks involved, sir. That is why I mention this only as a hypothetical. That being said, if we were to make an agreement with you to exchange these beasts for, let's say manpower, perhaps you could give us a few of your good fighters to help us on this journey.
Well,
just as a show of good faith, perhaps.
I remember talking to one of those Beast House magisters a few years back. They do charge some ludicrous prices, so if I can have beasts delivered to my property at a discounted rate with none of their inflation, I'd be more than happy to make a proper arrangement. I can only imagine the crowd such a spectacle would draw in. I'll just have to keep it appropriately high-born so the house doesn't get too suspicious about our deliveries. But no, I could definitely make arrangements there. Risky as they may be, I think we can make a compromise if I have your guarantee of these provisions.
Well, it is certainly a case of if we get there and if we get some beasts, but they will definitely come to you if we do. There won't be much risk on your end, sir. You can have my word, if we get them, you shall have them.
Well, how about this, then? I'll give you enough men to stock your ship's halls with ratings and labor that you need, and on the condition of fulfilling our little sortie, I'll provide you some cages I have. They're functional mostly for men, but you should find them appropriately sized for beasts that at least will function for what my Colosseum can hold. The Devil's Pit isn't exactly a large affair.
Excellent. That will make transferal much easier if they're already in your cages.
Exactly. And if you can supply them, on the condition that you get them all, here's what I'll say. Because you've been very generous to me. You get me these beasts, discounted price, everything we here, manpower and labor, and I'll give you the best fighter out of the Colosseum for this cycle.
That's very fine of you, sir. Very fine indeed.
After all, I can just send off the runners-up. Those that survive, obviously.
Of course. Your men will have to swiftly learn when they're facing down some horrible creature from the darkness.
Exactly. Well, that's an
it seems we've come to an accord, sir. I proffer my hand out to shake.
Takes you by the arm rather than, strangely, it seems they aren't quite the handshake type, more the forearm shake type on this planet. But he still takes you by the arm and gives you a shake, sealing the deal with a foul-toothed grin from the Baron.
Good doing business, sir.
One thing I would like to...
Marvelous doing business with you as well. Sorry, I'll just finish what I was saying, Astra, and then I'll finish off.
That's fine.
Oh, and one thing, lad. If you're perusing and still looking for a deal, do you see that lad over there? And he gestures along one side to a gentleman with a series of very brightly coloured, shimmering feathers perched in a... I'd say it's a beret-style hat of his.
Mm-hmm.
Over by the Baroness. You see him over there?
Yes, sir.
Merchant Prince. Goes by the name of Scranton Bell. He's been here trying to make a deal all afternoon. Very interested in setting up some trade.
What's he
I thought
trading
he'd be
with?
interested. Well, his ship. Man has a Karak-class transporter. The Pauper Prince, I think he calls it. I've used his services once or twice, pulling labor from some of the outer worlds in the segment, in the sector. But if one thing I've heard while I've been listening to him, he's been underselling his own position here. He's the lowliest of the low compared to the rest of us swanning about here. Now, both you and me know that's complete trite. But if he's pulling that, and you're wanting to set up a deal with him, pull your own status over him, but the captain's status over him, and he might be clamoring for a slice of the rich man's pie. Huh? And he taps his nose.
Thanks for the tip.
Well, a wise man once told me, tide rises all boats.
Thank you, sir.
So, with that conversation coming to an end, the party shifts around a little more again, but what were you going to say, Astra?
I was wanting to ask Populus about Tiberius's vessel. What does he captain, if he happens to know?
Okay, yeah, so go ahead and ask.
Speaking of the brothers, I've spoken and learned a bit about Caligula, but I'm hoping to know a bit more about Tiberius. What sort of vessel does he captain?
The old Gallius lad. He's got the family ship, I've heard. His father's old cruiser. Ambition class. Little larger than my own vessel, though undergunned comparatively. I think he calls it the Remembrance. You might have seen it in orbit. Fabulous looking thing. Has the sides all done up with markings from their own settled worlds back in Mjol. Obviously, its name is very fitting. I mean, that's because he renamed it appropriately, but whatever. I don't much abide by renaming ships.
I concur. It takes away quite a lot of their history.
Aye. The Admiral insisted on renaming my own back when damaged during the siege. I'm not complaining about its new name, but I worry its teen spirit tends to buck and give the cogheads a right scare ever since it got a new name.
What is it named now?
Thorn of Savagery. But, like I said, boys in red get a little quivery all about its complaining. And, well, we were hunting pirates back on the Corward Rim, and no word of a lie, one of the damn macro cannon batteries blew itself up. Shell got stuck in the casing. 500 men dead, 15 weeks in dry dock to repair it. Last action since we saw the renaming of Venaxide. I'm not a superstitious man, but you can't argue with physical evidence now, can you?
Indeed, although that might just be by chance.
Aye, bad luck. Maybe bad luck. I'm hoping it's bad luck. Last thing I want to be doing is sailing under a cursed vessel.
And do you happen to know what Tiberius's motivations are? And is he rebuilding his family's fortunes, legacy?
You were there when we were talking to him.
I can't remember.
But
And
the
not even that
audience
also is
can.
a different perspective.
But the audience can.
He'll be wanting to rebuild things. Well, what do you do when you lose 2 planets pledged to your own name? Partial tithe coming off 2 whole worlds? That's a serious punch in the coin purse. Behave, Decker.
Hey, you're the one who said coin.
Aye. And I imagine, like your lad, he'll be wanting to plunder the untapped reaches beyond the warp storms. But who listens to an old man these days, eh?
forgetful young
you'd
men.
be a fool to ignore such wisdom.
Aye, and many are, and there's many rich men because of it. A lot more dead men, though.
Aye. Well, none from this instance. Well, I should hope. Anyway, please do excuse me. I think I need to now see what my comrades are getting up to.
Yes, so once again, the party shuffles around. The Baroness and her consort breaks away, and they begin moving on towards the captain, but generally seem to abide themselves and stop near one of the display cabinets. Some of the servants shuffle around, and Populus makes his own way over to talk to, actually, oh, my roll 20 is frozen. Just give me a moment. Goddamn machine spirits.
Cursing ships and now computers.
Exactly.
Well, terminals.
Hey, at least we got the first game, huh?
Just as an aside, I think we should probably update ourselves on what happened last time before starting.
Probably.
Probably a good idea.
Just so we don't end up repeating stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can only cover so much in a recap.
Yeah. That, and we did talk to Caligula, and he told us what his ship was called and that it had been renamed and all the rest of that.
I know about Caligula's ship. I didn't have any notes on Tiberius' ship, so I know that Caligula's had captained for Reclamation, which is a Cobra class.
I thought Captain Tiberius was Captain Tiberius Caligula.
No, it's
no?
Tiberius and Caligula are two brothers.
Oh, Tiberius is the brother, the older brother. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yep, and we just got to be careful of the younger brother because he seems to have some sort of plan to get the fragment. Most likely not legal.
I know that Caligula's seeking, is more of a privateer, but in regards to Tiberius, I wasn't sure whether he was planning on colonization or just exploration.
Right.
And
I'm with you.
I wanted to know his ship so that if we happen to speak to the admiral, we can leverage that being from on a Star Galleon. But since it's an Ambition class cruiser,
And I'm trying to remember Black Vine's air yacht. Are we trying to get that on loan, or are we trying to own that?
We're trying to loan it so we can go hunting with it.
Yeah.
And Romulus just found out that she is easily manipulated with pity. So if we act like we're poor and unfortunate, and if only we had your air yacht,
or
maybe
maybe
Or if we
paragons of underclass. Oh, but we'll be able to do great good for the Imperium and those who are suffering in the Underhive.
We'll be perfect for floating above the poor and destitute, throwing coins at them.
Better yet,
Well, we won't tell.
powerful beasts that we could bring back as meat for the poor and destitute.
But by the by, I will be going back to the crew.
Join Pandora.
yeah, I was wanting to meet up again.
Yeah, let's meet up. Let's regroup.
So the party shuffles itself around once more, and various people split off, and some of them are generally distracted by various displays and other things as your little cluster regroups at the centre. It looks like the Lord Captain is still involved with conversations with your Admiral, leaving your opportunities to speak to him few for the moment, but giving you plenty of time to hunt for the remaining VIPs and any information you can dredge up from the other high and mighty participants of this fabulous event. So you meet as a cluster at the center with information to be...
Oh, you've just cut off Smudge.
Yeah.
You cut off.
Where did I cut off?
The hand and not the head.
We meet up again.
Yeah, we meet up again.
You meet up again at the center with information on various partygoers. And then it was just leaving it open for you guys to...
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, how was your conversation with the Baron?
Well, we've secured all the men that we'll ever need.
Yes, this man
Yeah,
has a
that's a
slick
start.
tongue on him.
Oh, please don't phrase it like that. I
I
also
did not
made
get that
him.
picture in my head. Thank you very much.
I made an advanced deal where we may be able to sell our beasts to him to fight in his arena.
Excellent.
Indeed.
I've been speaking with Captain Populus, and I've learned a bit more about the Rear Admiral and the Baroness.
What did you learn?
It seems as though the Baroness is I don't want to say Samaritan because that's not...
It's not a 40k thing, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it seems as though she's a saint. Or
A charitable
wanting to
woman.
be a saint anyway. Wanting to do good.
A film.
And even though it can sometimes be detrimental in her decisions and her good heart, that's her main motivation. While Rear Admiral doesn't particularly have a spine for glory, but is more in need of wealth, especially if he wants to rebuild Battlefleet Chalice. But it's quite fascinating that he worked his way up from being a lowly ensign.
Indeed. How many houses did he have to kiss at that?
Hundreds, millions.
Thousands.
A whole hive's worth, probably.
Oh
And
dear.
hopefully with not the same smell or conditions applied.
So, wealth. Unfortunately, that is something that we don't quite have in abundance at the moment.
Maybe
No,
it
but it
is something
might
we
be-
can offer going forward, if provided.
That
Might-
may be problematic with the deal that I just made with the Baron.
Is
If
it
the
though?
Baron thinks that all of the beasts that we capture are due to him, then we may not be able to offer them to the Admiral.
Why not?
Well, we can always...
More than beasts. What if we find worlds with rich mining or other raw resources and we ensure the proper licenses and other setups get given to the Rear Admiral?
Indeed, I was about to say I would not offer him beasts as it's highly illegal.
Yes, I don't think I want to enter a jail cell just yet.
Furthermore,
Not before we earn it.
Furthermore, I've been asking about our competitors in this. Caligula and Tiberius, as you know, the two brothers.
Indeed.
Um,
I quite like Caligula.
yes, but to learn more about the Tiberius, he's captain of an Ambition-class cruiser for Remembrance. And...
Lord on the throne.
Well,
So, although what I've heard, it's undergunned in comparison to Captain Populus, but regardless, he's seeking to rebuild his family's fortune.
Yeah. We don't want to go up against that anytime soon.
no.
No, but I was only thinking what we could leverage our own captainship, whether the Star Galleon would be able to carry more and be able to bring back more wealth.
That is likely. We will have more cargo space than him.
And lastly, it appears as though Tiberius often gobs off about the Ministorum. Seems to be quite a big fan of him.
Oh, right. I thought you were saying that he looks down upon them.
Might be that. May have misheard, but all I've heard of, he gobs off on them. And the Imperium. So I can only presume he talks a lot.
I see.
Here's hoping so. If he's a heretic.
Well, if he's no friend of the... If he's no friend of the Mistradon, it means Utopics might not be alone in this party.
Oh, before we split off, yeah, you two, Utopics and Varana, we discovered in our chats with Captain Caligula that the Ordo Zeno are investigating the Beast House.
Interesting.
Yes, this it might complicate our mission going forth.
Might.
So it's best
Yes. I'll be notifying the Lord Captain as soon as possible. But try not to worry, eh?
As for the time being,
Of course, it's only the Inquisition who will gladly kill us all.
I can think of a few things. I've been thinking about the Ariots. I have a few ideas in mind, but none of them have particularly been in the philanthropic direction.
Did you say philanthropic erection?
Direction.
It must be your voice modulator. Sorry. I'm a child, obviously.
His head actually tilts a bit to just look at you, which is a...
Your voice modulator still turned on. So it's like the tech priest just narrating herself.
Head tilts, dead stare. Where was I?
Throbbing erection?
He's a tech priest, he can't get those.
Unless toasters are involved, or technology of untold.
I was considering
with the toasters you promised us.
I was considering filling her Ariat with toasters. No.
We will be able to rain toasters down upon the poor. Glad to see that tickled you.
I'm imagining the actual effect of a hive stream. Just fucking toasters raining down. And they thought hives were dangerous before.
They're a lot more dangerous now.
Yeah, okay.
Hurry, Adam. Shovel more toasters.
The hives are rebelling. Load the toasters.
The Codex Astartes names this maneuver Toasted Rain.
This is outtake number what this session?
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
So, moving on.
Alright, that's all our system.
Swiftly.
Decker.
Fucking Pirates of the Caribbean, they don't load the cannons with sulfur, they load them with toasters.
Decker.
Verona, goddamn the slurp.
Should we have a talk to the Baroness since we're admiral?
Right, take a pause and then start again.
Thank you, Alex.
Right. Decker.
Yes, Romulus.
Should we speak with Baroness? As we're admirals currently speaking to our Lord Captain.
Well, we've had good success with the Baron. We might have similar success with the Baroness.
I wish to join you. I still am carrying the option of offering improvements for when we return the area as one bit of trade.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably the most I am able to offer in this entire setting.
True.
I guess me and Paldoris would have stayed back here. Or maybe talk to the Prince Captain.
Yes, I was wondering what we were trying to get out of him. He's a transport captain, isn't he? So we might be able to have him tag along and carry our cargo for us.
The only person I know, other than what we've talked about, is the Colonel. And apparently he can be quite easily buttered up. And there's a lot of talk, but can also be intimidated as well when the right pressure is applied.
You know how you said the Baroness is a champion of the downtrodden?
Yes.
Well, we are about to receive a rather large shipment of the downtrodden from the Baron's custody. Perhaps we might be able to lever that against her heartstrings. I don't know how that'll get us the air yacht, but...
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm also not sure how much she might appreciate us taking so many downtrodden against their will to downtrod them further.
Appreciation of our good work.
Indeed. Or perhaps you could just sell other prisoners yourself.
Let a few go. Sure.
Would you like some downtrodden to help? Price is one air yacht, please. Why that? I don't know.
We know that you already overpopulated one hive. But...
Yeah, right. Would you like a couple more?
Some poor souls that could use the charity of a saint as yourself.
So what are we trying to gain from the prince, the merchant prince?
His transporter.
His transport ship?
Yeah.
Class transporter. Okay. Why do we need his transporter?
Well, we will eventually need it, as we will be, we're trying to acquire a lot of stuff.
Yeah. More cargo space.
Exactly.
More ships is rarely a problem.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm confident with that. Shall we carry on with our missions, gentlemen?
Of course.
Excellent. Lead the way, Bromulus.
As I shall lead Decker and Utopix, I guess, is tagging along.
Yeah, he's going to offer her upgrades, remember?
Yep. And I will just announce... excuse me, Baroness. May we have a word? Or...
Oh, hello. Yes, of course. She insists as she whips around next to the display case she's standing next to. As she does, her little cadre of painted women, as far as you can call them, scuttle to one side in a strange little barrier around her, as if bodyguards, but also, well, they really couldn't be bodyguards dressed in that much makeup, and compared to, well, that's saying little compared to the Baroness herself, in a beautiful pearlescent purple dress, and a powdered wig sitting in great coils right down to the small of her back.
I bow deeply and say, I apologize for addressing you in Low Gothic, but I have yet to learn the High Gothic tongue.
Oh, it's no problem, my dear. Such a formal language is a little too unnecessary, really. Why shouldn't we all share a common language rather than this unnecessary, appropriated tongue that's used only by the elite. I'm far more a fan of Low Gothic myself.
I shall switch down. Well, I shall switch to Low Gothic.
Hold on, I gotta shift into Low Gothic.
Small
chunk,
dig
chunk,
right there.
chunk. Boy, love!
Wow.
Pardon me a moment, gentlemen. I must shift into Low Gothic.
Well, I am
switching to
you're
Low
really
Gothic.
pretty. Fancy a shag?
Oh god!
Boy, slag, fancy a shag. Run back.
I need your floaty boat.
Oh god! I think that's a little too low, Gothic.
I'm just gonna casually start to separate myself away.
Everyday language in Vampirium.
Yes, I am from humble beginnings, unfortunately. But I've been raised up to enjoy your presence.
She smiles sweetly and says, "Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. I'm of unfortunately high birth myself, but that hasn't stopped me with reconnecting with the roots I really should have. Everyone should make himself a place in this world, you know, rather than being given it outright."
Sorry, we haven't introduced ourselves. I'm Salarius von Romanus, and these are my comrades. And I shall allow Utopics and...
I am the High Factorum of the Captain Solarius, and my name is Decker Armstrong, ma'am.
I am Utopics Kylo Engine Seer Prime.
Well, it's marvelous to meet you all. You must be the son of Lord Captain. I've heard a lot about your father, and it's a pleasure to meet your fine crew as well, especially such a gentleman to have raised himself from unfortunate beginnings, and of course, well, I do appreciate the Mechanicus, and all that it does for the Imperium, keeping us functioning as you do.
I give a nod to that last statement.
Of course, Baroness Esther Blackfine, but please do call me Esther. You notice she doesn't introduce
honor to meet
you.
We know she what?
She doesn't introduce her retinue.
Ah. They don't matter.
Probably deadly Inquisitor assassins.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to say it.
They're all death cult.
Death cult assassins. Yep.
Yeah, death cult hires.
So they have. I'm fully expecting them to have weapons of some kind. I'm fully expecting it.
No, just all named Susan. It's very complicated to address them all at once.
How are you enjoying the party so far, Baroness Esther?
Well, it's a little wasteful, I'd think, but it's nice to consort and speak with some of my peers. And, you know, it is all right to enjoy the finer things in life now and again, so long as you don't drift away from the humble roots.
Indeed. May I ask what's brought you here? Are you intending to bid on any of these lovely items?
Well, I was considering that I might put my name forward for it, but I really, of course, it's for just to add to a collection. Do you want to make me Oh, has my Discord cut out?
No.
We hear you.
We're just hanging on your every word.
Yeah. Do you want to make, I think it would be an awareness check for that one.
Sure.
Wouldn't it be...
Why not?
It would be scrutiny, wouldn't it?
Scrutiny,
Yeah.
sorry, thank you. I forgot scrutiny existed.
I can also make that.
If you'd like, yes, all of you can.
Well, it would be a scrutiny fellowship, wouldn't it?
Scrutiny perception.
Well, that's what it says, yeah, but it's to tell if she's lying, isn't it? Which is a fellowshipy thing.
Was there a modifier on this?
Any modifiers,
It has a scrutiny fellowship, and it is not modified. It is a challenging test.
Jesus. And I bet none of us actually have scrutiny trained.
Oh, hell no.
No.
Right.
Use your fate points.
Okay, I'm trying to beat the 17.
Yes.
Fuck it.
Yeah, I'm trying to beat 17.
You rolled a command.
You rolled a
Yeah,
command.
I know, because that's an untrained fellowship skill that I have. All the other ones are trained.
Then may I roll inquiry? Then that's my untrained fellowship skill.
You may roll whatever you want, so long as it's an untrained fellowship skill.
Oh,
the difference.
right. I missed that part. I just rolled normal scrutiny. I'll roll disguise. Fuck it, do that. Even worse. All right.
Okay, so none of you notice anything else.
Yeah.
Fine.
As she continues on and states, I imagine you've the rather noble intention to explore and reconnect the Imperium beyond its borders. I've heard that's often a common intention of rogue traders. You'll travel out into the far reaches and find lost colonies in the early Imperium and restore them to glory, save them from the horrible oppressions and things they may face.
Indeed, these people have been disconnected from the Imperium for perhaps untold centuries. You never know until you get there, my lady.
And not only that, but also find new worlds and bring new hope. New lands to settle, expand, create colonies.
Truly marvelous.
And to find, relocate, and
Error.
Yeah.
401.
404, 404. Finds lost knowledge and technology for the greater betterment of all Imperial citizens.
Indeed.
Yes. Oh, that does make me think. Do you happen to know what is it you're supposed to say when you set foot upon a new world?
It varies from, different rogue traders would have their own sayings. It typically is a declaration of claiming this world for the Imperium.
Indeed. The ecclesiarchy, for example, have a hours-long ceremony with lots of singing and such.
I always thought it was one specific phrase. I guess I've been misled.
Can I do a common law Imperium?
Yes, you can. It's going to be a difficult common law Imperium. So it's going to be a challenging common law. It's not something that the Imperial citizens have to know.
Or would I be able to roll? Would I be able to roll Scholastic Law Astronomy?
Yes, I'd say it's probably an easy one for astronomy, though. Obviously, if it was common law rogue traders, it would be very easy.
Can I roll common law machine code?
No, that really won't make it.
So with Scholastic Law Astromancy, what modifier would it be?
Sorry?
Rolling Scholastic Law Astromancy, what modifier would it be?
It is going to be a plus 10.
10. I don't know.
Nope.
I've got a speak language rogue trader.
That won't make a difference. That's just knowing the tongue rather than...
One of the phrases you might learn.
Our bad rolling has turned.
Never mind.
And I would think most Mechanicus expeditions would simply say, begin colonization.
Yes. But there is actually, in regards to the warrant of trade, there is an ancient catechism which you must utter when you step foot upon a world to claim it for the unofficial administratum records.
My lady, what is it that you had thought it was?
I rightly remember. That's why I thought I'd ask someone who would know. But
where
I guess it's
I
not
must
important
admit,
to get that fragment.
I must admit I haven't claimed many worlds, my lady.
My father would certainly know, but we're still learning, so to speak. We haven't, as Deckard rightly said.
Indeed.
So, what pieces did you consider acquiring?
I beg your pardon?
I had asked you if you were planning on bidding on anything for your collection. You didn't say what it was that you were aiming for, my lady.
Oh, just the fragments themselves.
Oh, you also want the map fragment?
Yes. I have my reasons.
Oh, would you put it to use? Or would it stay in your collection?
No, I don't believe in simply having these things and making good use of them. That's why I'm not too interested in the other item collection, save for perhaps the gem, but really that only has monetary value. It has no function for the people of the Imperium.
Indeed. May I ask, if it's not too rude or presumptuous of me, but what do you intend on using it for?
So that one is going to be a interaction check, probably an inquiry over charm.
But I'm so fucking charming. Right, what's the modifier for the inquiry?
The modifier here is going to be easy because she's so very talkative.
Okay, so easy's a plus 20, isn't it?
Sorry, no. What's the one between easy and
routine?
Ordinary. Routine. Thank you. Routine. Yes.
Oh, right. I'm reloading. I'm fucking it. Yeah, reading. There we go.
By the skin of your teeth.
Well, I have been trying to keep it on the down low. After all, there's a lot of people who do take unkindly to such things, but my thought is that distributing this information into the greater Imperium will do a lot more for the people of the worlds around us, rather than simply keeping it cooped up in the pockets of one of the many navigators you have. I am sure you disagree with me, but personally I think for the betterment of everyone in our sector, free distribution of information is essential.
I agree on you on some levels, but I also disagree with you, but perhaps not for the reason that you thought. My lady, if you were to distribute this and make it free information for everyone, there would be terrible fighting between the many factions who wish to go exploring here.
Not to mention, a great deal of lives would be lost for those who are inexperienced and not truly expertise in navigating through such warp storm.
Many factions would recruit the poorest of our peoples into their armies to fight for these scraps of land.
All based upon routes that have not been properly mapped, nor easily navigatable. At least for the time being.
Well, in my personal opinion, I think if there was infighting, though I don't imagine there was, and I imagine there's plenty of space to go beyond those walls, I imagine that it would be a worthwhile sacrifice in order to rekindle these areas of great galaxy for the Imperium. And I don't suppose you'd have a better recommendation?
I actually might. In a sense, I can agree with your intent. However, with the maps being fragments and the routes being not wholly rooted, making such a move might be best saved until we have a secure and consistent route to these new regions. Once that's been established, then progress with public knowledge and all the fun intrigue and infighting that may or may not happen afterwards. But at least whoever does make it out there won't be in vain.
But we're never going to find these stable routes if it stays dusty and locked up in cupboards, kept by people who want to just use the information to themselves. Don't you agree?
That's why you want them in the hands of someone that does have the expertise to make such a trip.
In the hands of someone who would share this information, finding the plotting out the safest routes for the betterment of humanity and the Imperium. A house like House Solarius, for example, and I'd like to attempt a charm check.
Okay.
Oh, here it goes.
Charming is surprisingly more challenging, given that she has a lowly opinion. And
she does have a heart set on it.
Yep. And it's going to be a -10. It's going to be quite hard to get it to see your view thing.
Right. So, am I able to gain assistance in making this check from my compatriots? Or
I'd say I've been pretty charming too, so maybe I could assist him on it.
If you succeed on a flat charm check, Decker, you can give Romulus a +10.
Okie dokie. Nope.
Nope.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, on your own, kid.
Considering the importance of this, I'll spend another fate point to give myself a +10.
Wow. She's not going to change your mind that hard.
So that'll be +0. Something. And
wow.
spending another fate point to re-roll.
Yeah.
Please do.
Oof, the big 9-0.
Oh. Wow.
Jeez.
Well, she was never going to buy it, then give it to us, so come on.
I don't know. I was kind of thinking maybe if we really...
I personally don't imagine that the whole warrant of trade would be any safer in your hands than it would in the hands of any of the other rogue traders. I imagine you'll all just hoard it.
We can agree to disagree.
That we can.
Oh dear.
Back onto our original mission.
Yes. Well, my lady, since it's looking like you'll be our competition in this auction, if you succeed.
404.
I have a proposition. You see... Oh dear. I didn't think about how I was going to phrase it.
I have a
Instead of out of character, Gib airship looks.
Provide float boat, please.
Oh man, I can't tell her we're going hunting either because she's probably a fucking vegetarian or something.
We've heard that.
I'm imagining Utobix in his red cloak and hood just leaning over and looking across Romulus at Decker. It's like, what are you trying to say?
I've got an idea.
We have a proposition.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, okay, we have a proposition.
Oh, right. Okay. We heard that you're in possession of a very impressive air yacht.
That old thing. Well, yes, it's one of my old family staples. They were quite a sight back on Cornelia before unfortunate circumstances affected our planetary composition, let's say.
have you considered loaning it? I mean, such a fantastic vessel is incredibly useful, especially in agriculture and the harvesting of meat products, especially groks. I mean, I come from a lonely, quite humble beginnings.
Can
from
we
a frontier
turn your
world.
ship into a meat wagon?
But
Fuck's sake.
Wow.
Put a jingle on it so everyone knows. Come
Girls and boys come out to play.
Here's your slab of fresh cooked crocs. Oh, it's still bleeding. That's how you know it's fresh. You don't cook it, just give out raw meat.
But yes, it would such a magnificent yacht would assist in gathering food, especially for the masses.
You're going to have to make a deceive check there.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
Could I rely on Decker to make the roll and I just assist?
Given the fact that you've been speaking, no. But
Can we use it as a combine harvester? Is it?
Decker can assist by leaning
I'll
over
give
and
you
talk.
the keys.
Okay, I was.
Make the check.
Okay, deceive check, did he say?
Yeah, but like I said, Decker can make a deceive check at flat to give you a +10. And remember, you can modify all of your speaking tests using common laws or laws if appropriate. Though I don't think you
could
have any laws that would be
use
appropriate.
modify it with wrangling, which is a advanced skill I've got.
You know what?
What does that
Yes. Wrangling is for wrangling animals.
Yeah, which is like really rare, but somehow I've got.
My days as a cowboy.
Yeehaw!
Get along, grab boat.
Well, I don't know much about wrangling from a yacht, but let's.
But you do have the
Plus 20 there,
+10.
though. Yeah.
Damn it, Romulus.
Oh, it's 10 for each degree, is it?
Oh,
No, it's 10 for you. and
90.
10
last
for
8 point.
96.
Your very last
Jeez.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Come on.
Ooh,
Bad luck.
limb.
Kind
come
of
on.
tempted to go over just to dilute.
Oh, no.
Okay,
That's
okay.
you're willing to give me a +2.
I've got a backup. Don't worry.
I've got backup too, actually.
Utomix's backup is just, let's just macerate her. There is no problem that cannot
I
be
also
solved
got
with
a
macerate.
backup just in case.
Oh dear.
Anyway, I don't quite think it would function that well. It's very delicate technology and it's quite old. They were mostly simple pleasure boats. We used to take them out across the rolling plains and fields before they became city works.
My lady, how about a wager? If you win the fragment of the map and distribute its knowledge to everyone, will you give us the use of your airship as we explore?
I don't quite see what I would see out of that deal. That's merely providing the upturned with the upturned.
Alright, how about the other way? If we win the map fragment, you will lend us your yacht.
Yeah.
Listen, okay.
Do you have gamble as a trained skill? You can't, you don't.
No.
I'm a sewer rat. Yeah.
So if you win, we get the yacht. But if we win, we get the yacht.
Can I give it a go?
Oh god, with a -30, yeah.
-30, okay. Under a 5. Come on, lads.
Yeah, coincidentally, you don't win. It doesn't.
Can I walk over to try and help them out? Do they look like they really?
I think Tobix had an idea.
I did.
Hopefully, it would have been a much better idea.
Okay. Utopix, like, before she even responds to that, because I'm just like already shaking my head. I literally like step forward, like in front of the two, like right in between them, and just give them like almost like a waving hand, and saying, "My dear Baroness, disregard these two fools. They're lost in their dreams right now before hopefully a great adventure. Here's what we're actually hoping out of this, okay? I want you to imagine a planet that has not seen the Emperor's light for centuries, millennia even. They have found themselves under the tyranny of terrible Xenos. Turned them into slaves for their dark causes. Now, our hope is we land, we find this, we must save these people from these terrible Xenos overlords. However, we find ourselves only on foot. We have no better craft beyond our ship, and we realize, you know what would save this day? An anti-gravity craft with which to... I'm feeling Decker's stare in the back.
I just have this brilliant image in my head as he's going on about, we have bear us aloft masses while pulling a curtain over his hovering Aquila ladder that's sitting on a landing pad outside. Pay no attention to the crafts behind the curtain. Okay, I'm gonna need a deceive check because you have no intention of
doing any of that.
You have a +10 for that. I don't. Decker and Romulus can't help you at this stage.
Nah, you're fucked.
Okay, +10 modifier. Okay.
Later up as well.
Okay.
Come on.
There's no chance.
96. Oh, I just rolled down.
Rolling for you.
It means his name. What the hell?
Dave, you've got a terrible roll.
Yeah, it's like how many 90s have we had?
That is the second 96 specifically in the last 4 rolls.
Your voice modulator's still on.
Wait, that's a camera third, or why is he...
Because I was on the wrong screen because I was checking, making sure this stuff was still recording a few minutes ago.
God, what a shit.
My screen went all wacky. Okay, so we can cross off air yacht. That's not happening today.
Crossing off air yacht. As the Baroness simply states, I'm sorry, but I don't believe my vessel... I don't believe a glass-bottomed anti-gravitational vessel will be functional in the face of horrible Xenos oppression. Gentlemen, I do appreciate what you're trying to do, but I think I will find far better uses for the fragments and for my vehicle. And I'd appreciate just some time to prepare my own efforts. And with that...
Oh, my lady.
Conversation.
No.
That was too painful.
I'm gonna push our luck that extra step where I might get kicked out.
Alex, no, your disposition is
like, no,
my lady. My lady.
Do it.
I must level with you. We haven't been expressly honest with you. We are intending an excursion to a planet that we know to have several Xenos beasts living upon it. Interesting, strange new species that no one has seen before. We intend to capture these animals and create a... Do I? We intend to rescue these animals.
You've got so much to live for.
And set up a conservation farm, and hunting them down will.
What are you doing?
It'll need the use of your airboat.
Oh God, please, just.
Oh,
At this point, the deceive check is
Everyone just run the opposite direction.
challenging
Go
check
away.
at 0.
And can I mention that we just took on a load of prisoners that are really downtrodden and sad?
Please just roll the deceive check. It's like watching a man on the edge of a bridge.
Yeah, but I gotta do it. Okay, I'm spending a fate point to get a plus 10.
Can I just shoot him?
No, shut up.
Oh my God!
It worked.
Well, now that you've been a little more honest with me, I may consider it, but nothing more. Good day. And she tips her chin up and simply walks away with her little pack of geishas following behind her.
I cannot believe that worked.
She said that she would consider it, and good day.
Oh, well, that's better than, no. Thanks for being honest, but no. That's what I thought you said.
I'm just going.
Admittedly, this is like a maybe on a Facebook "Are you coming?" invite, so it's still pretty unlikely.
Better than a no, damn it.
And
really?
We're going to take a much-needed break because Jesus Christ, that was horrible. Admittedly, you jumped off that bridge with a bat, but you're still hitting the San Francisco waters from the top of the Golden Gate. It's going to be fun regardless. And we're going to take a 5-minute break to get drinks, to cry in a corner, and various things.
Stop laughing.
Utobix is already back at the table with the food, swearing he'll never go to another party again.
I'm just going to I'm going to do a wear check later when we get back to see if Palidorius heard all of this.
Yeah, he's just been waiting in the wings. I was wondering what you were doing, Palidorius. Staring at the disaster.
That's what I was thinking. It's like I'm hanging back and I'm just watching. I'm like,
me and him was like hanging back watching. I'm like, should I go in and help her?
And I'm just like, holding our navigator back. Like, no, they're in their own mess.
Shoot themselves in the foot in front of a noblewoman. For God's sake, this woman managed to fuck up an entire planet, and you still did worse.
But was it entertaining?
Oh, it was entertaining.
Oh, super entertaining. I am gonna never let them live this down.
I think the kiosk guys are laughing.
So yes, go get a drink if you need it. I'm gonna.
I'm just gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry.